Hi, this is Shannon. I wanted to pop on and give you some encouragement as we are finishing out the school year, which is crazy that it is that time of year. Spring is in the air and summer is not too far away, which is exciting. So I have 5 things that I hope encourage you that I myself have been thinking about and I think are important to remember as we are getting close to the end of the year. Also, make sure you stick around to the end of this video because I have some fun end of year gift ideas for the students in your class, for your own children. So I will talk about those at the end. If you are new to my channel, I am a homeschooling mom of 3 little kids, 5, 3, and almost 4, and almost 2. And we do classical homeschooling and absolutely love it. We are part of Classical Conversations and really enjoy that. And if you have not seen my tutor videos, I like to share tutor ideas that I use with my homeschool group. Also, I love to make games and activities each week that help us practice the memory work we are learning each week. So I will link below where you can check those out too if you do not know about those. The first piece of encouragement I want to share is remember your why for homeschooling. I think it's really good every once in a while, every few months or so, just to really sit down and remember why you chose to homeschool, why that's important to you, especially as we hit the spring and close to the end of the year. We can all feel a little tired and burned out. And so it's just really important to have a why to come back to when it feels kind of hard and maybe not as fun as you want it to feel. So one of my biggest reasons for homeschooling is just the time I get back with my kids. So I looked up in Colorado, the average for kids being in school per day is about 7 hours, and they're in school on average for about 171 days per year, which is actually one of the lowest number of days compared to other states, which I thought was interesting. But if you multiply that to figure out how many hours per year your kid would be in school if they went to just normal school, it's close to 1,200 hours per year. So that's a ton of hours that you're getting back with your kids by homeschooling. Now, homeschooling is definitely, obviously not the easy path. It's super sanctifying, can be really challenging, and there's a lot of hard things that come with having your kids at home with you all day. I am continually amazed at just my own selfishness and sin that God brings up through being at home with my kids all day. It's not easy. I am so thankful that my family is able to do this. I would never trade it. And I love just remembering that that's my number one why for homeschooling, because on the days where they just feel long and I'm just tired and wanting a break and just don't really feel like spending the whole day with my kids, I can remember that and remember, oh yeah, I love the fact that I'm getting that time back and just the opportunities I get during those hours. We get to wake up in the morning and not be rushed and have time to read the Bible and talk about it and have breakfast, lunch, and dinner together. I get to make nutritious meals for my kids. I get to let them play outside when it's nice and there's no timetable. I get to have the freedom of just stopping what we're doing and reading books, playing games with them, letting them just play with each other. The time they're getting with each other is so valuable. So much I could say about just getting time back. For me personally, it's really good to just remember that and remember how I want that, especially on the days that feel a little bit harder. And this gets into number 2, is just having some time to reflect and think about habits that have been working and maybe habits that you want to do better or change, and either trying to change them now or just thinking for next year things that you could do differently, whether it's homeschool wise or just any kind of habits. So one habit I am trying to implement that is so important but can be hard for me to do is to spend at least 15 minutes of one-on-one time with both of my girls, at least. My 2-year-old boy, that would be great too. But first I'm starting with just my almost 4-year-old and my 6-year-old. Even though I'm home with them all day, if I'm not intentional about having at least 15 minutes, which is not that long, total of 30 minutes, and it could be longer, some days. But I make it a goal to at least have 15 minutes of just one-on-one time with them. I do that at the beginning of our quiet time in the afternoon. I'm learning if I do that right at the beginning before I do anything for myself, it's so good. It sets the tone for just the rest of quiet time. They're more joyful and willing to play by themselves for a little bit after I do that. And just getting that connection time with them is so important. And I know that, but often if I don't make that a priority, it just doesn't happen. It's crazy how, even at least for me, if I'm home with my kids all day, attending to their needs, making meals for them, I can easily just not get any what I would refer to as quality time with them, especially that one-on-one time. That's super hard to get when all three of them are awake and running around. I think it's really important. I try to have some of that time at night before bed too. That's one of the habits I'm really trying to instill. And I find that if I do that right at the beginning of our quiet time, it just works best for everybody. If I start doing my own thing, then often it doesn't happen. We run out of time. The 2-year-old wakes up, that opportunity is gone. So I would just encourage you to just reflect on what's working, what's not working, what habits do you want to change or adjust, or maybe you have some habits that have been working really well. I think it's always good to just take some time to reflect, maybe during that spring break time, or just starting to think a little bit, and then maybe you'll have a longer time to reflect when summer break happens. The next piece of encouragement I would offer is to just spend some time spring cleaning. I don't know about you, but it brings me a lot of joy to just feel like our house is kind of reset. And I've been trying to do that during our spring break time. Our community has had 2 weeks off for spring break, and I've tried to just really kind of get things cleaned that I haven't cleaned in a while, get rid of some things that we don't need that are just taking up space. And it's also caused me to just think more about next year and what curriculums I want to stay with, what I want to change. I keep it pretty simple because my kids are really young. Like I said, 6, 4, and almost 2. So what we do is, like I said, we're part of Classical Conversations. So we do the memory work, and I will post another video soon about why we're part of Classical Conversations, some of the reasons I really love it and plan to stay with it. I would just recommend kind of revisiting, okay, what do you want to stay with this year? What do you want to change? There's a lot of sales that happen earlier with different curriculums. I've already noticed the Good and the Beautiful has had a sale. I know Classical Conversations, if you enroll now, or I don't know how long it lasts, but you get a discount. So if you know some of the things for sure you want to either stick with or change, often you can get a discount if you start thinking about that now. I wanted to share, besides the Classical Conversations curriculum, some of the things I do with my kids that I really like and will stick with. So for handwriting, we use Handwriting Without Tears. I really like it. I have my first school book that I used with my youngest daughter, my almost 4-year-old, and the letters and numbers for me that I used with my 6-year-old. So I will get the next level for both of them. I'm really a fan of that for handwriting. It's pretty simple. I also wanted to show you, I have the preschool course book from Good and the Beautiful for my almost 4-year-old. And we're going through it pretty gradually, so I'll probably just keep it. I'm not going to get anything new for her this next year. I might revisit it at the end of the summer, but for now, this will be good for her. And then my 6-year-old has been going through Math 1 from the Good and the Beautiful, and she's pretty quick at math, so I will probably go ahead and order the next one soon. I don't know if I'll do it right now because I might wait a little bit, but I definitely love the Good and the Beautiful for math for my girls. I did try Saxon a year or so ago, and it's fine, but I definitely am really liking the Good and the Beautiful. The next piece of encouragement I would give is to just get outside. As the weather is getting nicer, I just love the fact that my kids can spend a ton of time outside. It is so good for them. I'm sure you probably know this, but it's good for them to just run around barefoot if they want, get dirty. It's hard for me sometimes because I don't really want them to get dirty, but I know it's really good for them. So just the free play outside is so valuable. So I would just really encourage you to feel more freedom as we get closer to the summer for them to have more outside time and less maybe structured inside time. I have seen with my kids personally that they thrive with structure. I mean, every kid does, right? But some kids maybe a little bit differently than others. So I do plan to just keep up our morning routine, which is we come down, we have breakfast. That's when I read the Bible to them. That's when I do our Bible study that I do from Driven by Grace. That's when we pray together, we sing some hymns together, and then after that, we do math and some handwriting. I don't necessarily do both of those every single day, but that's kind of the next thing that we do. And so even throughout the summer, I plan to continue doing that. Maybe not every day, maybe some days we're meeting a friend early at a park, or we decide to just go on a morning hike or something. I'm not going to feel like we have to do that every day, but I am as much as possible going to keep that routine going just because I've seen that works well for my kids. My daughter knows we do math in the morning and she really likes it. And so I just want to keep that up so it's not hard to get back into that routine later. Obviously, different families do it differently. You have to just figure out what works best for your family. But yeah, I would just really encourage to just take advantage of the time you have and let your kids go play outside more. Also, as we get towards the end of our school year, I plan to just read more and more books with my kids, read outside. I have some fun review games that we've already been playing that we will continue to play that will help us to review the memory work that we learned this year. So I wanted to share a few of those. First of all, with books, if you don't know about the Cat and the Hat's Learning Library, I love these books. I've bought several of them. The library has some of them we've gotten, but there's a map on my lap, very relevant to what we learned about this year. There's a couple really good ones about weather, so wacky weather. Oh, say, can you say, what's the weather today? Both really good books about weather. And this is great about circles that we learn about every single year. So really great resource. I just really love these books and there's tons of them. So if you don't know about them, you should go look up the Cat and the Hat's Learning Library and just see what options they have. They're just really fun and great for younger kids and a bit older kids. And you learn a ton in them. So I love them. I also really like some of the Basher books. This one is Rocks and Minerals. This one is about the presidents, which we talk about during week 24. This one is about weather. So these are just fun. They make the different rocks or presidents or types of weather into different characters, just silly. Since we learned about Africa a good portion of this year, I wanted to share we've been enjoying this little book, J is for Jollof, learning about some African foods. My 4-year-old especially loves this book. We all went on safari. It's just a fun Africa picture book. And if you don't know about these Learn to Draw books, they're awesome. So we got the one this year, Draw Africa. I think they have every continent. We did United States last year. It's a great way to just review the different places in geography we've learned and awesome practice for your kids to learn how to draw. It goes very step by step in teaching how to draw each country. So I highly recommend. Also, the Magic School Bus books we've been really enjoying. So this is Flies from the Nest, when we learned first semester about how animals reproduce. This one was relevant. This semester with the geosphere and learning about the earth. This one's been great. It's called Inside the Earth. There's one about the ocean. I mean, there's all kinds of them. So look into those. And then these are a couple fun books about the North Atlantic that we've been reading about since we're getting closer to week 24. So this is Puffin Adventures and Three Snow Bears. And this is also a really fun book we've been reading about archaeology. Archaeologists dig for clues. So just some that we've really been loving that I wanted to share with you. I will link my picture book list for Cycle 1, weeks 13 through 24, where I have really great book recommendations for each week in the second semester of Cycle 1. I also wanted to share some fun games that you can play with your kids as we get towards the end of the year and just this summer to review the things we've learned this year. If you've watched my previous videos, you've probably seen me talk about these. The first one is this spring Easter themed memory work Meadowland. So this is Candyland style, and I have cards that either have one square of one of these colors or two, and then some of the cards have a little picture on them. So the cards represent the different subjects from the memory work. And so you just take turns drawing a card and then moving a game marker to the next color that matches that card or object, and then answering a review question from that particular subject. So just a really fun way, and spring themed, fun way to review the memory work from this year. And you can use this game for any cycle. So you could get it and then use it next year too and keep using it. So it's not for one particular cycle. It works for any of the cycles. Also, I'm super excited about this game. This is called Historopoli, and it's a Monopoly themed history game. So this is Cycle 1 history. It has all of the Cycle 1 history on it. And I have money, discovery cards, which are like chance cards, little markers that your kids can use, and little flags that are like the little cars from Monopoly that your kids can mark the different spaces they own with. So just a really fun way to review the history from Cycle 1. Also, as we're learning about the presidents at the end of this year, specifically week 24, I wanted to share with you this presidents game I made. I actually made several presidents games, a bingo game, a memory game, and this game that's similar to the game War. So I have a dice that you can print out and then just cut out and put together. And on the different sides there are president number, years in office, executive orders signed, and a few other things. And then I have one of these cards for each of the presidents. So you could just use these as reference too. But it has all that information for each president. So the way you play is whoever's playing, you'll divide all the cards amongst the players. And then kind of like War, each player will turn over their first president card and then roll the dice and say that you roll years in office. So then you'll compare the two presidents, the number of years in office. And Ronald Reagan was in office 8 years, and James Carter was only in office 4. So then whoever had Ronald Reagan will take both the cards. I have these helping verb cards that have all the helping verbs from Cycle 1 and each helping verb in a little sentence and a little picture. So you can play memory or go fish with those. I also have linking verb cards. So I'll link all these games below in the description. A lot of them are free, so you can just download them and enjoy them. This is Science Old Maid. So these cards have the science memory work from the second semester. So we've got like Everest, and I have 4 different Old Maid cards. So one of them is the stubborn sediment, and then I have 3 other choices in here, but we've got dormant volcano, ocean zones, parts of a volcano. So a great way to review the science memory work. This game is free, so I will link below and you can download it and enjoy it with your kids. The helping and linking verb cards are free too. Also, I have this Latin endings bingo game, and this has all of the Latin noun endings that the kids learn. So this is a great way to review Latin. This is free as well. I will link it below. I have this fun tornado Africa game that reviews all the places we learned in Africa. It's just a really fun way to review. Use popsicle sticks. I'll link below. You can read how to play it, but your kids choose popsicle sticks that have the different locations written on them. And then when they get a popsicle stick that says tornado, then they have to erase all the places that they've marked on their map. So fun way to review about Africa. Also, speaking of Africa, this African countries notebook is a really fun way for your kids to review the African countries. I have a page for each country. My daughter colored this one, but you can see Western Sahara. I have an animal that's really commonly found there, the flag, a popular dish, and a fun fact about each country. And I have all the flags at the back so the kids can look at them and reference them. So this is just a fun way to dive deeper into Africa. I will link this below too if you are interested. So again, I would just encourage, play more games, be outside, enjoy reviewing what your kids have learned this year, read books. The last thing I want to encourage you with is have lots of grace with yourself. God has so much grace for you, And it is challenging to homeschool and be with your kids at home all day and be responsible for the cooking and cleaning and everything else. And so it's stretching and sanctifying, and we make mistakes a lot. I think one of the most important things we can do as moms is to apologize when we make a mistake, because we will, and show our kids that it's normal and okay to make mistakes, and we apologize and ask for forgiveness and move on and learn from that. Also, I am convicted by this all the time, but we set the mood for our home. As you reflect on this past year, what worked, what didn't work, think about what really brings you joy and what gives you rest so that you can be joyful and have fun with your kids and just really enjoy this time and experience with them. I struggle with that because I lean towards being serious, and I have my to-do list of things I want to do during the day, I want to get accomplished, and so I can forget just to lighten up and have fun and laugh and just enjoy the time I get with my kids. So I would encourage you with that. Just be gracious to yourself. God is using you in big ways, and you are doing great. And I think it's so awesome that you have chosen to homeschool your kids. And I also wanted to share with you some fun end of the year gift ideas for your own kids or for the kids in your little group if you tutored. For the little kids in my group that I tutor this year, I tutor the obesitarians. I am getting them each one of these little globes. They're really cute. They were pretty inexpensive. I'll link below. I got a big box of a bunch of them. I am going to give a little baggie with a little globe, since we learned about the world and the 5 circles of latitude. And then I'm also going to give the kids this Dig It Up Minerals and Fossils. So this came in this big box, and there are 12 of them in this box. And each little baggie has a little stick to dig with, and they get to find these different gems in their stones. So since we learned about rocks and crystals this year, I thought those would be appropriate. So I'm going to make a little baggie, put one of each of these in each baggie, and then I also wanted to show you, I already gave my kids one of these when we were talking about the 5 circles of latitude, but these are squishy little balls, so if you didn't already give the kids in your group one of these would be a fun option too. So I'll link all those below if you're curious. I also wanted to show you these personalized timeline cards I am making for each kid in my class. So just so you know, these are not actual kids in my class. These are just pictures from online. I don't know who these kids are. I just made up these names. So just so you know, I'm not showing actual kids. But what I'm doing is making one of these for each kid in my group. It has the state that they live in up here, the year of the school year, their name, when they were born, and then some fun highlights from this school year about each of them. And I am going to hang these up during week 24. Like often I hang up the timeline cards on the wall, so the kids are used to me doing that. So I'm going to hang up their cards and then see how long it takes them to notice, oh, that's me. And then we'll talk about, we're all part of God's timeline too. And then they'll be able to take their card home. So another little gift from me for this year. And you can make these for your own kids or make them for the kids in your class. Somebody also had the idea of writing Faces of History at the bottom. These are in my Etsy shop, and I'm happy to customize them any way I can for you. So if you're interested, just send me a message. If you want them to be a little bit different, just let me know, and I'll let you know if I can customize them. I probably can. I will also have an option where you can just make your own using a template that I made if you have Canva. So I will post that as well, but just another fun gift idea. I hope this was helpful and encouraging to you. Make sure to check out in the description all the games I talked about and gift ideas and other things that I referred to in this video. And if you are enjoying my videos, I plan to continue making videos throughout the spring and summer. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out. I'm also passionate about healthy eating, so I will probably make some more videos related to new recipes we're making and just ways that our family is prioritizing health. Also, make sure to follow me on Instagram. I like to post what we're doing homeschool-wise and new recipes we're trying, things like that, new activities or games that I make. And also check out my blog where you can find all the things I mentioned and more. So thanks again for watching, and have a wonderful day.